Hello and welcome. My name is Renne and together we'll be exploring the topic of resources. Many teachers tell me they're overwhelmed by the amount of available resources and just don't know where to begin. They explain that they're too busy getting through the work and too tired to make their own. Maybe this sounds familiar. It reminds me of Kovys' story. A woodcutter was struggling to saw down a tree when a passing man suggested perhaps he should sharpen his saw. The woodcutter explained that he'd been sawing for hours and certainly did not have time to take a break and sharpen his saw. In this video, I'll share 3 essential resources with you and some ideas on how to use them to help you sharpen your toolkit. And at the end, watch out for my top tip. A good portfolio may take some time to build, so don't rush it. It may involve some trial and error. These invaluable essentials are a good place to start. All have multiple uses and are appropriate for any age and level. Firstly, a collection of pictures. Find these in magazines, on the internet, use your own photos or postcards, or even ask your students to bring in their favorites. Show your students about 5 pictures, one at a time. Ask them to work alone and create a caption for each picture. Give them a minute or 2 to think and write before showing them the next picture. Then, get them to share their captions with each other in small groups. They should discuss them and choose which is the most fitting and why. Finally, get each group to present their best ones to the class. For lower levels, students can work in pairs to help each other and then share with another pair. It's an enjoyable activity, especially when the pictures are unusual or funny. But most importantly, it allows students to get creative and practice explaining, persuading, and defending their choices. Divide your students into pairs. Give one student a picture and the other blank paper. The student with a picture should describe it, and the other draw what's being described. Get your students sitting back to back so they can't peep or use hand gestures rather than words. They'll practice giving clear instructions and listening. This is a great activity for getting more out of the pictures you've already used. Give your students a picture and ask them to decide what happened before that led up to it. They can do this individually or in pairs. Their task is to write the backstory. Put all the stories up so they can compare the different paths life can take us and enjoy each other's stories. To extend the task, they can then create titles for each other's stories or create a follow-up question. Secondly, small pieces of paper are invaluable for vocabulary games, questions for a class mingle, board games, quizzes, matching, arranging, etc. For example, use them to practice linking words and help your students understand how these can help us organize our thoughts. Choose linkers appropriate to their level, for example, firstly, although, therefore, finally, etc., and stick them around the room. Divide your students into pairs. Let each pair choose a simple topic. The pairs should walk around, stopping at each linker and using it to add a new idea on their topic. Get the students to create their own board game with post-it notes. Give each student in a group 3 post-its. Get them to write something important to them on each of their post-it notes. 1 or 2 words. For example, a book or a skateboard. Arrange all their post-its randomly into the shape of an S, adding a start and a finish to each end. Add some extra post-its with board game language like miss a turn or go back 1 space. Students put their counters at the start and take turns rolling the dice. When they land on a square, they guess who it belongs to and why they chose that object. If correct, they roll the dice again. If not, they stay on the square. This is good for building class cohesion. For lower levels, the students can put numbers that mean something to them. First, model this by showing them 3 numbers of your own. Thirdly, dice. Of course, dice are used for board games. But how about using dice to introduce a writing activity? Write 3 columns of words on your board. Choose words you've taught recently. Number each column. Divide your students into pairs or groups and get them rolling their dice to see which 2 words from each column they'll be using to write a story. By adding the simple but fun twist, you'll get them excited about writing. So to end, here is my top tip. Fill a glass jar with a collection of questions, tasks, and interesting facts to keep fast finishers engaged while the others are still busy.